Khombisa Nkosi amandla akho emndenini Nkosi wakwaNtuli. uNkulunkulu ethembekileyo sikhombise Baba ukwethembeka kwakho emndenini wakwaNtuli nezihlobo zabo eseduzane. Sesifikileke nina bomphemba, nina eseniphila Nkosi emoyeni. Sesifikile lapho sizokwenza khona inkonzo yokuvalelisa umzukulu wenu, inkonzo yokuvalelisa indodana yenu, inkonzo yokuvalelisa umfowethu umfowenu labo bangabafowabo. Siyanimema ke bomphemba ukuthi njengamanje niyamukele indodana yenu uma ifinyelela kunina. Konke lokhu sikucela ngamandla aqhamuka kuNkulunkulu noBaba neNkosi yethu Jesu Kristu, ukuthi Nkosi naku sesiyawuqala lo msebenzi. Sithi Nkosi konke sikubeka kuwena, singusa amandla avela kuwena, ukuthi Nkosi ube nathi kusukela manje, uhambe njalo Nkosi uzophela lo msebenzi ngamandla Nkosi avela kuwena. Sibonge Nkosi ukuthi napha Nkosi abazophelezela umphemba ubahlengile Nkosi ezingozini zonke, wazobafikisa Nkosi ekhaya kwaNtuli bephephile. Yiba nathi ke Nkosi kulo msebenzi Nkosi wenceku yakho, usigcine Baba esandleni sakho somusa kusukela manje kuze kube phakade. Amen.
Siyabonga umfundisi ukusivulela ngomkhuleko. Uthi uDavid ehamba indleleni efinyelelwa esikhathini ezifana nalezi ezingaphezulu kwalezi amakubo lapha ku chapter 23. Uthi noma ngihambe esigodini sethunzi lokufa angikwesabi ukubi ngoba wena unami. Nakalokhu ke uthi intonga yakho nodondolo lakho kuyangiduduza. Sifisa ukuthi sisho njalo emndenini wakaMphemba, emndenini wakwaZulu esihlobeni kumbutho wesizwe, njengoba simazi ukuthi ubaba uMphemba ubengumholi kumbutho wesizwe kusukela. Bathi mabekhuluma abomzabalazo bathi heroes are not born but are produced by the struggle. This hero has been a product of our struggle, and hence we are lifting our heads high and saying to him, farewell Mphemba, farewell Kodide, farewell kwethu. Siyayazi amagalelo akho embuthweni wesizwe zabalazela isizwe. Siyakwazi noma sewukhona usungumholi. Sithi ke hamba kahle mfowethu, ukuthi lapho uyakhona ulindelwe ngabaholi balombutho abahambe phambi kwakho, ngabakwenu abahambe phambi kwakho. Yonke imimoya esiphelelisiwe ikulindile. Ngizocela ukuba ke sidlulele phambili ngenhlonipho, sicele ukuba sicele imeya usihlalo ka-African National Congress walapha uMakedama ukuba azosamukela kule nkonzo yokubhida i-farewell umfowethu uMphemba. Sithi sompiso omuhle, sithi wena basho njalo mabejabule bathi bawosompisi, bathi bangamabhena aselenge. Manje sihlobene ke nabo bayamabhela selenge ngoba indaba yakithi ilenge. Siyabonga kakhulu ke, socela ukuba ke uMakedama eze ngaphambili.
Program directors, the Honorable MEC Mama Ustole Mloyi, and the MEC of Kokta Baba Hlomuga, the Premier of KwaZulu Natal and the Chairperson of the ANC, Member of the National Executive Committee and the Minister of Transport Baba Fikile Mbalula, the Speaker of the Legislature of KwaZulu Natal, Ms. Nontembeko Boyce, the Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip, of the legislature of KwaZulu-Natal, the members of the provincial executive branch of government in KZN, members of the legislature, the DG of the province, together with all employees of government in all the three spheres, provincial executive committee, in this instance led by the provincial deputy chairperson, Baba Umabuyakulu, the leadership of the alliance, the opposition parties, and all other social transformation. Former Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the Provincial Commissioner, the former Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Baba Macingwane, and the Provincial Commissioner, pastors of the church, and the fivefold ministry, we greet you all in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Sifisa ngokukhethekileyo ukubingelela imindeni ethintekile, osompisi, amabhele amahle, kanye nendlunkulu yakithi, ondaba ezitha, osithuli sikandaba, nabangani nabo bonke abagebise amakhanda ngokudlula emhlabeni kukababa wethu uMphemba, fellow mourners and all protocol observed. Rarely has anyone dominated the political landscape to the extent that Mphemba did. He was a larger-than-life character, and nobody could miss him once he had entered the room. His personality was infectious, full of energy, love, and laughter. His abiding trait was that he had the ability to effortlessly mix with young and old, royalty and peasants alike, and still be at ease in both instances. While pondering on this very unique and yet admirable character, I was reminded of a poet by the name of Rudyard Kipling, and I shall quote from one of his work called If. An open quote, it says, "If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of a distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son." Close quotes. Comrade Mphemba, as he was affectionately known, personified these values. If his father, I'm sure, were here, he would definitely be saying, "Indeed, you are a man, my son." Mphemba ubeyindoda emadodeni, a gladiator who indeed owned the earth he walked on. Program Director, my task today is a simple but very heavy one: to welcome this congregation to this district, this region, on this very solemn occasion. And therefore, I bring warm greetings from the citizens of Umhlatuza, the King Tletshwayo family of municipalities. I bring warm and revolutionary greetings from the Regional Executive Committee of Mosadladla and the entire alliance, its entire membership, and all its citizens in general. And lastly, I bring warm and sincere regards from all those students, from all those student activists who were baptized in the revolutionary fires in this region, at the University of Zululand in particular. All of the people I have mentioned above have in one way or the other been influenced by the bravery and selflessness of Comrade Mphemba. And therefore they are united in expressing their singular gratitude to you, Mpemba, for the lessons learned. They, however, ask themselves a collective question. How on earth do they pay sufficient respect worthy of the noble sacrifice you made without even a hesitation? How, for instance, do the children of the workers you so ably represented during the late 80s and the 90s as a shop steward, protecting their fathers from unbridled exploitation, how do they show their gratitude now that you are no more? How do the people of KwaSomkhele, Nongoma, Ulundi, Eskaleni, Ntuli, and KwaDlangezwa, and many other areas, for whom you were prepared to pay the ultimate sacrifice, say thank you for the selfless bravery? How do the young students who you and your collective protected and rescued from the jaws of death in 1999 at the University of Zululand, all because there are still some amongst us who remain hell-bent on distorting the history of our country? We meet them, old people deployed to kill and maim young students for daring to commemorate the brutal killing of students in 1983 in what is now known as Ongoye Massacre. They greet us in the streets when we meet them, and we greet them back, not because we have forgotten their devilish plans, but because you, Mpemba, taught us the abiding principle of forgiveness. How, our membership asks, do they pay tribute to a man who became a nucleus upon which the building foundations of the ANC in Northern Natal after the unbinding was anchored? A giant colossus who breathed life to our political ecosystem for more than a decade and a half as the chairperson of this region. How, again, they asked, the soldiers of our movement, whom you skillfully recruited and politicized and commanded, do they thank their captain and commander now that he can hear them no more? They ask these questions knowing full well you wouldn't want to arrogate unto yourself personal glory, but to the ANC. But yet they ask. These are not easy questions to answer. Many of them would have simply settled for a chance, all things being equal, to be here with us to bid you farewell. They would give anything just to be in the same space as this congregation, yet they can't. Perhaps then, fittingly, we now have to think of something more concrete than just a chance to heap praises on you all the day. Therefore, in responding to these questions, we must now, as this region, pledge to give you the best present you could ever wish for. That for our part as the ANC in Musadladla, and in honor of your legacy, we will work towards building a strong and a united ANC that is a home for all, a campaigning ANC, a disciplined ANC, beholden only to its sacred values and nothing or no one else, whose character will be, to paraphrase Chairman Mao's injunction to the Communist Party in China on the occasion of its 28th anniversary, like seed to the soil. Pemba, you were like seed, and the people the soil. Wherever you went, you united with the people. You took root amongst the people, and you blossomed amongst them. And we too, in Musadladla, would like to be like you. Want to be unrelenting in our pursuit for social justice, unwavering in our commitment to serve the masses of our people with honesty and integrity. To the family, we dip our revolutionary banners in honor of Mpemba, We are indebted to your family for sharing your loved one with us. Sifisa ukuthi emndenini engathi uMphemba angahamba kahle, alale aphumule ukulwile ukulwa okuhle. Sompisi, your legacy will forever be inscribed in our hearts and in our minds. Siyabonga.
We thank you very much, Baba Councillor, Mayor, all our local churches. We really want to extend our greetings to Premier and all MEC present, Speaker and all MPLs present. Also want to extend our greetings to Unobhala we ANC Mpemba, Nosekela Slalo, who represent the ANC. Want also to extend our greetings to Mpempet, who represent the elite of opposition. Sibingelele ifamily ukhuluze Thoko akaMphemba, sibingelele abafundisi, sibingelele Slalo wekhosati ngaphakathi, alliance yonke khona, all protocol is observed. Besocela la, with due respect, we due to our regulations isimo esingaphansi kwaso, we need to observe at least we spend 2 hours kule program esikuyona. Already sesi hour lokuqala. So I want to appeal to our speakers to stick to time, at least just to be conscious of time, so that at least as a government, because we can't put rules and even ourselves we break those rules. We want to greet former Premier Matungana Slan, and all PC members, Deputy Chief Whip ngaphakathi. Sicela ukuthi sivedane sicele Mr. SJ Ntuli ufunde sisukume ufunde obituary. Sasukume.
Bheki Ntuli, affectionately known by his clan name Mpemba, was born in 1957 in Umtubatuba in the north of KwaZulu-Natal. His father and mother, who are both late, Umkhulu Umvunyelwa Ntuli, nogogo uGrace Ntuli. Despite his poor family background and oppressive apartheid Bantu education system, Mpemba proceeded to complete his matric at Siyamukela High School in Emadadeni in 1980. Driven by his deep desire to make his significant change in his community, Mpemba furthered his studies and obtained a primary teacher's certificate from Emadadeni College of Education. He also obtained a number of other qualifications from various institutions, including Associate in Management from UCT Graduate School of Business, Mediation and Arbitration from the United States of America, Certificates in Leadership from Wits University, and Postgraduate Diploma in Research Strategic Diplomacy and Transitional Justice from the University of Johannesburg. Political work. Comrade Mpemba cut his political teeth working as a trade unionist, leading as one of the volunteers and later as the full-time shop steward of the Metal and Aligned Workers Union, which later became the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, NUMSA. When he was employed by the ALSAF, now known as Richards Bay's Coat Terminal, he was also very active in the ANC undercut structures and was a liberation fighter. Comrade Mpemba was involved in Umkhonto weSizwe and the United Democratic Front structures. During the dark days of apartheid, Comrade Mpemba was entrusted with the responsibility of building ANC underground structures, including recruiting operative of Umkhonto weSizwe and the UDF. Part of his strategic task at the time was to arrange military training and mobilize the youth to close ranks and defend themselves against the apartheid-sponsored violence. Over many years, Comrade Mpemba played a critical role in formation of violence. Over many years, Comrade Mpemba played a critical role in the formation of the ANC structures in the then northern Natal region, in which integrated in part of Ilembe as far as Manguzi and Uphongolo.
Ubaba Comrade Mpemba gained tremendous respect as a peacemaker at the height of political violence between the ANC and the Inkatha Freedom Party in the northern Natal, now known as the Musadladla region. Ubaba Mpemba preached peace despite surviving numerous assassination attempts which saw many of his relatives being brutally killed. In 1995, he suffered a severe blow when his mother, Ugogo Grace Ntuli, was murdered in cold blood along with other family members in an attempt to silence him. His family in Dubatuba and Eskaweni was subject to constant attacks by both the police and the security forces. Ubaba Mpemba is among one of the bravest leaders who testified in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which is the TRC, during the then apartheid government. Ubaba Mpemba is among one of the bravest leaders who testified in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission during the then apartheid government to take responsibility for its nefarious deeds and seeking justice for the unaccounted murders that occurred in the northern Natal at the time. Through all the sufferings, he opted to use diplomacy to end bloodshed and political violence. With the unbanning of the ANC and the liberation movement, Ubaba Mpemba was elected as the second chairperson of the ANC in the now Musadladla region, a position he held for over 15 years, as one of the disciplined and trustworthy cadres, grounded in the revolutionary theory and practice. Ubaba Mpemba was tasked to lead the ANC's Peace and Stability Subcommittee. This is a task he executed with distinction for over 20 years. As a dynamic leader who was understood who understood the task of the National Democratic Revolution. Ubaba Mpemba has served in the KwaZulu-Natal PEC for more than 18 years. At the time of his passing, he was still a PEC member. His love for education and community development saw him being elected as the chairperson of the University of Zulu-Natal for the University of Zululand's Council. Through this role, he vigorously campaigned for the transformation and for the University of Zululand to be recognized and repositioned as one of the centers of academic excellence. He also played an important role in uniting various student formations as part of stabilizing the institution and promoting the culture of tolerance and peace. In terms of his parliamentary and government work, in 1999 to 2003, Ubaba Mpemba served as a member of the National Assembly, where he served in various committees, advocating for pro-poor legislations and improved service delivery. In 2009, Comrade Babu Mpemba was deployed as a member of KwaZulu-Natal legislature, where he was then appointed as the chairperson of the Community Safety and Liaison Portfolio. He served on many other committees, including the Transport Portfolio Committee as a member. In September 2019, Ubaba Mpemba was appointed as a member of the ANC Provincial Executive Council, responsible for transport, community safety and liaison. During his tenure in his portfolio, he made significant strides in reducing the levels of crime, political killings, faction fights, and gender-based violence. On the transport front, he unlocked service delivery investment projects, worked tirelessly to eliminate taxi violence, and was leading from the front in reducing the scourge of road crashes and fatalities which continues to ravage our society. By virtue of being the MEC for these portfolios, Mpemba was the chairperson of the Provincial Executive Council's Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster. He was also the chairperson of the Multi-Party Political Intervention Committee, which was established by government to promote political engagement, peace, coexistence, and political tolerance. Ubaba Mpemba passed away on Sunday, 16 January 2021, in a Durban hospital after a short illness. He is survived by his wife, Umama Usnenhlanhla Umazulu Ntuli. 6 children, Umbali, Usisi Umbali, Ubhuti Unhlanhla, Ubhuti Uthami, Ubhuti Sandile, myself, Andile, Usisi Andile, and Ubhuti Untando. 8 grandchildren and 2 sisters. Mpemba will be sorely missed. Ubaba Mpemba will be sorely missed by his charisma, sense of humor, which he also often used to diffuse the tense situations, and natural laughter which touch many lives. Hamba kahle Bhelelihle, hamba kahle Godide, ndlela kaSompisi. Umsebenzi wakho siwuqhubezela, awukapheli. Besafunda umlando nje kuphela. A quote by James A. Garfield, open brackets, for the love of country they accepted death, and thus resolved all doubts and made immortal the patriotism and their virtue. Wathi ubaba ngasinda la ngixolele bazonya ama roadblock. Kala sibambe la. Siyabonga.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Sizocela cele Mr. K Ntuli ozokhuluma on behalf of the grandchildren. Kasimsukumisa ngayixolo.
Thank you, Program Director, Ubaba Usomuga, kanye nomama Sithole Mloyi. All protocol is observed with the leadership ekhona ngaphakathi ngenxa yesikhathi mhlawumbe ngeke ngisasho ngokwezigaba zonke. Ngibingelela umndeni wakithi kwaNtuli noma sikulesi simo lesi sikusona njengamanje. Igama lami uKhabewa kaNtuli. Ngizokhuluma silekelelana nabazukulu bakamkhulu abawu8 njengoba bebhaliwe lapha phansi. Lo bekade ecula nje umzukulu usisi wami uLindele. Bakhona ke nabanye abazukulu abakhona. Mhlawumbe nje kufanele ukuthi sikusho thina ukuthi umkhulu was a wonderful man. Umkhulu was a wonderful man, and ayikho giant wonderful ukudlula uMphemba, because besithanda sonke thina ezabazukulu bakhe. And bengakhethi in a way besiza sicabanga ukuthi omunye ubaluleke kakhulu kunomunye, ngoba bekwazi ukuthi asinike isikhathi sakhe. Noma bekade baba umuntu obabhizi kakhulu, kodwa besinike umkhulu isikhathi sakhe. Kukhona nabanye abazukulu abasebancane onke nabanye ubebanika isikhathi sakhe. Mhlawumbe kubalulekile futhi ukuthi sikusho ukuthi thina nje abazukulu umkhulu was the light in the whole family. Umkhulu did everything for us. Umkhulu did everything for his family. I think lokho kubalulekile ukuthi sikusho. Umkhulu did everything for us. And njengoba engasekho siba nakho ukuyibuza ukuthi going forward izimo izoba kanjani. Kodwa kuthiwa ke kumele sithembele uNkulunkulu ngoba uyena oyithemba lethu. And kumnandi kuthina ukuthi namhlanje sizwile umkhulu akwenzile kwenzela lelizwe njenge freedom fighter obese understand the struggle, ngoba kunye kubalulekile ukuthi iba khona umholi kodwa uthola ukuthi umholi ongezukwazi ukuthi as understand the struggle nazo zonke izinto that comes with it. But umkhulu understood the struggle. Umkhulu usebenzile ngezikhathi kunzima, ngezikhathi kungakabi fashion balahleka amalungu omndeni njengoba kushiwo namanje. Omambali they can tell you stories no malume ukuleko nabo bonke omalume abakhona because of izinto ezazenzeka nangalezi ezikhathi. But ke with all that being said, he was a man of honor who believed in unity, and I think with that mhlambe kubalekile ukuthi sikusho ukuthi umkhulu was a unifier. Mina I can say this honorable premier, mina ngazi ngimbone I think mhlambe kuseyena yedwa ukwazi ukuthi umkhulu bekwazi ukukhuluma nabantu abawu5 beme bonke kanje, akhulume nomuntu othile and futhi umuntu mayizokhuluma naye usuke ezoyisolve inkinga yakhe. I'm saying this ngoba nami ngeke ngahamba naye at times and usuke ezoyisolve leyo nkinga alithathe ngisho ucingo afone same time angithi ke manje usefonela umuntu wesi6 bekwazi ukukhuluma nabantu abaningi at the same time and futhi abantu bebeba nalo ithemba ukuthi masize kumphemba sizolithola usizo. Mhlawumbe okunye kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi nathi njengoba siyabazukulu kukhona ukuduma kwekhanda liyaduma kakhulu ikhanda nama I can even say things personally ukuthi at one stage ngizoyofunda eMangosuthu. I must say this Sihlalo because you know the story. Sahamba njengoba ade ibhaliwe lapho obituary. This is not a family of riches but a family ebekhona ku struggle ngendlela yaso. Kodwa okunye bekubalekile umkhulu ubefuna sifunde. Umkhulu bengakwenzela konke kodwa mawukuthi umuntu ofuna ukuthi afunde ubezoma nawe akwazi ukukulekelela ufunde. I would even go with him engihambise esikoleni ngisafunda eMangosuthu but I remember the day sisebhenki ngoba imali ayishoda ukuthi umuntu ayofunda. Yazi yambuza iconsultant ukuthi uma lo mfana eshona uaware yini ukuthi uyosala usikhokhe lesi sikweletu. And umkhulu said yes, I'm going to pay it. And nami ngiyakujabulela ukuthi even yena umkhulu uhambe esekwazile ukuthi asibone sigraduator omama mabhele nomalume ngobani sibaningi and lokho iyona into futhi esisathi sisazofuna ukuthi siyenze kakhulu. Today I'm a manager kwamasipala. Ngobani umkhulu wazile ukuthi thina si-inspire. Umkhulu never believed in nepotism. Umkhulu bengasho ukuthi you will be employed here without the capacity. So that's one thing ebibaluleke kakhulu. Ngisho nomama nabo nangu nje umama kwamasipala naye but lokho kuye ngokuthi kukhona capacity not ukuthi kungabe bikho capacity but all that izinto ebezikade zisenza ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sivuseleleke kakhulu. Siyacela ukuthi nathi njengoba siyabazukulu usaduma khona amakhanda ngoba this is one person that we looked at as umuntu obese inspire as umkhulu yikho konke but one will request ngicabanga ukuthi le request yethu sengizohlala phansi imphatho hlela ukuthi omambale kanye nomalume uNtahla nabo bonke omalume nibambisane ngoba kubalekile ukuthi kubanjiswane ukuze nathi ezabazukulu sikwazi ukuthi sibambisane. Omalume Eric at your level as omalume bethu as ama elders ethu nomama sibambisane because umkhulu believed ekuthenini kumele kube khona ukubambisana ukuze izinto zenzeke. Otherwise sizogcina siyabantu abangezukwazi ukuthi siba inspire even omkhulu bethu abasekhona abase remaining. So with the unity we think ezinye zezinto lezi ezosenza ukuthi sikwazi ukubambana. Ngiyabonga.
Sabonga kakhulu mfowethu khabe ukhulumela grandchildren. Socela uMrs MP uMantuli Nzuza azokhuluma on behalf of the children.
Sanibonani, ngicela ukubingelela abafundisi abakhona phakathi kwethu, ngibingelele nabantu abadala bonke abakhona phakathi kwethu. Ngizokhuluma ngobaba ngimele abafowethu nosisi uMabhele. Baba, anginalo igama elikufanele ukwedlula leli esikubiza ngalo. Ubizwa ngamagama amaningi ahloniphekile, waphatha izikhundla eziningi ezibalekile emphakathini, kodwa kuthile ubaba. Baningi abangangifakazele ukuthi ubungeyena ubaba wethu kuphela, kodwa ubaba womphakathi wonke. Sifundile okuningi kuwe baba, wasifundisa ubuqotho nokuhlonipha.
Ngalokho siyabonga futhi siyathembisa ukuthi sizohlala sikanjani akukho kuzoshintsha. Siyabonga baba ukuthi usishiye sibumbene. Awukazi usihlalise phansi. Uzame ukusihlanganisa njengezingane zakho. Kodwa lokho ukwenze ngokuthi usibonise ukubaluleka kokuthandana. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ushaye ngoba ukuba ungashayi ngaba sibizwa ngoMrs Ntsuza namhlanje. Ngaba weka ama-graduates kwaNtuli ungasingasisale siqinile. Siyabonga kakhulu uthando lakho Mphemba. Siyathembisa ukuthi sizohlala sibambene ngezandla njengabantwana bakho. Ulale ngokuthula Godide, ulale ngokuthula best friend wami noMabhele. Umngane wabafana usandile Nqobani bonke abafana. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga umndeni. Sizocela ukuthi sibambe isikhathi, sicela ukuthi sibe bafishane. Ngiyazi ukuthi akukuhle uma sifisa ukuthulula ukukhala kwethu nokubonga kwethu ngempilo kaMphemba. Ngizocela ukuthi ke siye ke kwabalandelayo abazosinikeza inkulumo from umndeni. Ngicele umntwana uVusi Zulu on behalf of the in-laws. Emva kwakhe ngicele ubaba uME Ntuli ozokhulumela umndeni wakwaNtuli. Balandelane khona sizosheshe sikwazi. Angisoze ngahluka ana no ngithanda kangaka alosothandana
Ngibonge Mundisi, ngiyabonga Job, MEC, Busani, ngiyabonga isithuba bahlonishwa, KZN, hlonishwa uMinister from National, former Premier Macingwane, uSokhaya Njomani, hlonishwa nonke ngowegabazeni. Ngifisa kakhulu angizile ukuzokhuluma Busani ukuzonikhalela. Silahlekelwe sonke njengesizwe. Sizwe samabhele nomndeni wasemabheleni wonke. Umnyango abe uphethe uSompisi nomnyango ke ochampiona lesi sifo okumnyango wa health. Ade ngibona no HOD Mshengu. Nabo bonke ke abasekhaleni lalempi ngizonikhalela Ndlovu uma sisabona uNkulunkulu esiphele isikhathi sikhalelana. Ngiyacela sibe neqiniso komunye nomunye. Iqiniso ukuthi akuqala emqondweni wethu kusinke kuqala ukuthi sonke sisengozeni. Ungayitshela ukuthi wena ngoba usazizwa ungcono kusho ukuthi akakubani. Asilungise thina emqondweni wethu sekwenziwe okuningi bafowethu bahlonishwa. Ngabe ngidlala ngani sihleli sibuke indaba ayenziwa ama campaign kodwa ngeke seneliseke. Iqiniso yileyo ukuneliseka kuyoqala kithi ukuthi esikwenzayo sazi ukuthi sikwenzelana. Senikhothile inkulumo ebeyishiwo abadala nabasiphethe kodwa futhi udokotela ochampiona lesi sifo ku World Health Organization ushilo ukuthi ngaphambi kokuthi sithathe isinqumo asiboke sicabangisisa ukuthi siwukufa nokuphila. NoNdunankulu wethu enkulumeni yakhe akayenza uwathintilela umagama ukuthi konke sikwenzayo asinikeze ukuthi ngikwenzelani lokho engikwenza namuhla. Kuzomphephisa yini umzali wami, kuzosiphephisa yini isizwe. Ngiyacela abafowethu sibuyele ekuphileni okungcono, ukuphila okungcono, ukuhlonipha nokulalela izinkulumo esinikwa ngabadala ukuthi asenzeni ngasiphi isikhathi sikwenze. uma siyokwazi ukuphepha la esikhathini esizayo siyohlala kangcono sesikhothana amanxeba. Umndeni waseMabheleni ke mina usibari wami lo ugano udadewethu ngizofisa ukudlulisa ukuthi nibe isihlahla esihle kithi sakwazi ukukhosela sonke sakwazi ukuphila ngeke ngibale igaba ngegaba kodwa lokho kade bekusho ubuntu kakhulu ngifuna ukukhuluma ngobuntu ngaqala ukubona kuye mina busani ngo1995 nisongoye njengoba khulunywa ngongoye nje manje la khona esifundisa khona ukuthi kubaleke ngani ukwazisana nokuhloniphana iyona into yosisindisa bantu benkosi iyona into yokwenza ukuthi konke sikucabangayo nesikwenzayo siphumelele ngicela sime ngandawonye sonke ukuze sobhekana nokufa akungathi kukhona abangapha kukhona abangale abathi hayi ngifelana ngeke ngathi ngikwenye imoli abafowethu laba abagadayo bekhuza umuntu engene engayifakela imask wathi hey uhlangana apho nokufa kwami wena ngifela wena yini. That's the attitude ofanele siyisuse. It's unfortunate ukuthi sikhuluma nabantu abangabaholi la abantu ofanele sibatshele ukuthi lesi simo esibhekene naso sibucayi kangakanani. Ngiyakhala angipheza ngazi ukhuzeni ukuthi ngizokwenza njani. Indlunkulu yonke uyazi ke wena ukhuzeni. Nginokuthemba ukuthi mase kukhona umphembo njengomuntu owamdeploya futhi waba u-MEC champion eZululand saba nakho ukuthi esigabeni sakho nokusebenza naye nasesigabeni sokusebenza kwamaphoyisa akho minister nomnyango wa transport siyayithola imessage clear eshoyo ukuthi asenze njani. Okuningi sekusele ezandleni zethu bafowethu ngiyacela ngenikhalele ukuthi asibambisane sazi ukuthi sikwenza usikwenzelana kodwa ke ngiyamqonda futhi uNkulunkulu ukuthi ngeke silahle namanje uma singafuna ubuso bakhe siyisole phambi kwakhe ukuthi inkosi sonile usawusinika ithuba lokusithethelela. Ukona kwethu akusikho lokho esikubona ngokuxabana sodwa kodwa sesisuke sayinikeza amandla nobukhosi nodumo nakho konke usuye ufica abafundisi ngiyaxolisa abafundisi bami bethi bavusa abantu ukona kwethu lokho uNkulunkulu asithandaza uNkulunkulu asithethelele singayinika amandla ongesiwa wethu asiwabuyisele kuya wakhe njengoba esikhombisa namanje ukuthi ungumqalisi nomphelelisi impilo zethu zingezayo. Ngiyabonga.
Ngibingelele abaphathi bami ngezigaba zonke ezikhona kule ndawo. Kuthiwa ngikhulume egameni lomndeni wakwaNtuli. Okungafanele ukuthi ngithi ngikhulumela umndeni wakwaNtuli. Ngikhulumela isizwe sonke esithole ukulimala sonke. Isizwe sonke sase-South Africa sinqamuke ikhanda ngokuhamba kwamfowethu. Kusukela kwenzekile lokhu akakho noyedwa ofika angakhali ngokuthi uBheki ube indoda emadodeni. Akakho futhi noyedwa kwese ngibabonile uthi akakaze asizakale nguBheki. Ngisakhulumi-ke ngomzabalazo ngoba uma ngakhuluma ngomzabalazo njengoba kushiwo ekuqaleni ukuthi uBheki wanikela ngumndeni wakhe ekugcineni esevuza ngokwenzekayo ekubambeleleni kwakhe emzakalazweni useklinywa idimoni. Ngalesi sikhathi ethi uyavuza ngokuzinikela kwakhe impilo yakhe yonke useklinywa idimoni. Ngizothi ke bakithi ngamafushane, umndeni wakwaNtuli wonke, isizwe sonke sase-South Africa silimele. Akukho kunye okudlula uma uzwa abantu bekhala ngezwi elilodwa bonke. Asisho ukuthi ube ngafanele ukuhamba uma bese kwisikhathi sakhe. KwaNtuli ke sifundisiwe ukuthi yonke into yenzeka ngesikhathi sikaNkulunkulu. Yingakho nibona sikhuluma nje singakhali, simisibindi ngokuthi satshelwa nguNkulunkulu owenza konke kwenzeke. Ngakho ke sizothi bafowethu nodadewethu baholi, siyabonga, siyabonga, sibonga ukubambisana. Sizosho njalo singabakwaNtuli sithi siyabonga, nisikhoselisile nasenza sabakhulu ezweni. Namhlanje umhlaba wonke ubuka umndeni wakwaNtuli obungelutho, ubukula haya phezulu. Ngakho yingakho ngiphakamisa leli flag. Bamba dadewethu. Yingakho ngiphakamisa leli flag namhlanje enilinika uBheki Ntuli, ukuthi isizwe sonke silazi leli flag ukuthi likwaNtuli, nempilo kaBheki owanikela ngayo esemncane kuze kufike lesi sikhathi uNkulunkulu ambiza ngaso. Macengwana omdala, ngikwazi uqashi la ngakuthola khona, uqashisiwe ukusha kumzi wakho. Ngiqale lapho ukwazi kahle lapho. Ngithi ngiyabonga ngalawo mazwi okwami kuphelile. Silimele sonke. Njobe ingane zisho nje azazi thina ke livelela shona, ngobe ngikhumbula ukuthi nje wonke umuntu wakwaNtuli kunele kwaphuma lokho kuphumile, bafile bonke, kodwa abazi bazongcwatshwa ubani, bangcwatshwe kanjani. Mina le unkinga ukuthi bazongcwatshwa ubani, bangcwatshwe kanjani njobe befile bonke bezidumo. Ake nisikhulekiseke, ngihlale ngisho leli gama lokuthi sicela ukukhulekiswa. Konke la ngikhuluma khona sehlelwe izehlo, ngithi ake sicela ukukhulekiswa. Indoda inye yalesi sizwe sakwaNtuli enisibonayo esisebenza ngaphansi kwalo mbutho, esizinikele ngaphansi kwalo mbutho, esidela ukuphila kwaso ngaphansi kwalo mbutho, silimele sonke. Kuyinsika unqanyulwe ekhaya. Ngalawo mazwi bafowethu singachitha isikhathi ngokomthetho kahulumeni, kungewuye uhulumeni, kuyilolu bhubhane. Ngoba sibuka uhulumeni, akuyena uhulumeni, ubhubhane olunqumele lesi sikhathi. Isandla sedlule ekhanda baholi.
Abaningi bayamshiya We are now proceeding with our speakers, requesting that our speakers be conscious of time. We know that we want to celebrate the life of this giant. We want to say a number of things about Mpemba, but now is not the time. I'm certain that the African National Congress and the government will organize a day when we celebrate the life of this giant. I'm now going to allow the tribute by his wife, Mazulu, to be read by Ms. TZ Mthethwa. Abaningi bayamshiya
ministers, the mayors, government all court observe. It's very difficult because ngizothulula inhliziyo yomuntu ngenhliziyo yakhe. The reason why ngithi ngizothulula inhliziyo yomuntu ngenhliziyo yakhe, akekho ngazi ukuthi these two hearts were joined in love, and it is very difficult ukuthi ngikhulume ngobaba ngikhulumele umama, kodwa ngizodlulisa njengokufisa kwakhe. Yebo ke dali wami, ngikhumbula siqala ukubonana ungangazi negama lami, wathi sawubona mkaNtuli. Ngaqalaza ngayibuza ukuthi ukhuluma nami yini lo muntu. Ngase ngiyakubuza ngathi usho kimi yini? Waphendula wathi yebo. Wase ungibuza igama nesibongo. Ngesikhulu ismile saqala kanjalo ke uhambo lwethu. It was 1995 kwaze kwathi ngo-2006 wasifeza isethembiso sakho sokuthi ngizoba umngakho, sakhe umuzi nabantwana bethu. Uthando owangithanda ngalo uqala ungibona uze wahamba emhlabeni usangithanda ngalo. Uthando ongiphe lona nemfudumalo engiyizwile uma ngicabanga konke ngathi ngiyaphupha ngilele akukholakala. Ubuyindoda enesibindi, enothando, ewagcinayo amagama ayo. Yonke into ongithembise yona ukuthi Mazulu ngizokwenza umama wabantu bami, uye wayifeza. Senza izifungo phambi kukaNkulunkulu naphambi kwebandla ukuthi sihlukaniswa ukufa kwenzeke njengesifiso sethu. Kodwa ngiyazi sehlukene ngokwenyama, sehlukene ngokwasemhlabeni, kodwa ithemba nginalo lokuthi sizobonana. Uhamba lapho sibhizi nama-plans of renewing our vows. We were busy planning my 50th birthday. Kodwa-ke kusho ukuthi bese kufike isikhathi sesiyokwenza kwelizayo, ngoba kufikile ukufa kwasehlukanisa. Ngikhumbula one of the days I asked you ukuthi Mphemba, yini oyesaba kakhulu emhlabeni? You said to me, Mazulu, ngiyakwesaba ukwehluleka. Angiqondanga ngaleso sikhathi, kodwa namhlanje ngiya-understand ukuthi kuphi ukwehluleka okhuluma ngakho. Myeni wami, ungishiye nesikhala esikhulu enhlizweni yami. Angazi ukuthi siyovaleka kanjani. Ngibonga ukuthi kule minyaka ewu-25 sindawonye, siphilile, sijabulile, sabakhulisa abantwana bethu, saphila siwumndeni onothando, ubaba onothando emndenini wakhe, ukusithanda, ukubathanda abantwana bami. Ngiyazi usazoqhubeka Mphemba usithande, usazoqhubeka usivikele njengalokhu ubusivikela, ngoba siyathemba usenathi ngokomoya. Myeni wami, angazi ukuthi ubani osezothi nansi ingilosi yami yasemhlabeni uMazulu. Angazi ukuthi ubani osezothi mayengena eminyango amemeze athi wedali sengifikile. Angazi ukuthi ubani osezothi dali vuka ungigqokise sengiye emsebenzini. Angazi ukuthi ubani osezomemeza mayengena eminyango athi kwanuka kamnandi dali phaka sidle. Angazi ukuthi namhlanje ubani ozothi wema wabo bese ngiphendula ngithi baba wabo. Angazi ukuthi namhlanje ubani ozothi iyiphi lembuzi kade ipheka la akusilona uphuthu lwakho lolu Mazulu, usho uma kupheke abantwana bethu. Bantwana bami, akaze ngicabange nangelilodwa ilanga ukuthi isikhathi esibuhlungu njengalesi sizofika ngingakwazi nokunigona, ngingakwazi nokunibeka esifubeni, nginiduduze ngithi boMphemba kuzolunga noma kunje uNkulunkulu ukhona. Hamba kahle mngani wami, hamba kahle wele lami, hamba kahle bhuti wami, hamba kahle baba wezingane zami, hamba kahle myeni wami, hamba kahle qhawe lami lasemhlabeni. Sobonana ekuseni, ngohlala ngikuthanda njalo umgidla wami. Namhlanje umshado wethu wokugcina, mhla ngifika emagcekeni kaNtuli ngangifake ezimhlophe qha, namhlanje ngifake ezimnyama shuthi. okufakaza ngokusobala ukuthi umshado wethu wokugcina. Ngiyacela ukuthi uNkulunkulu nedlozi lakaNtuli lingivikelele abantwana bami, ngoba angikwazi ukufinyelela kubo njengamanje. Bomphemba, uma wena uyangithanda. For this reason, I will fight to come back and comfort you. Hamba kahle qhawe lami, hamba kahle my king. Sobonana ekuseni. It is well, it is well with my soul. It is
sidlulela phambili we proceed singene kwi-section elandelayo ye-fraternal tributes. Sicele umfundisi P. Mbuyazi on behalf of the Christian Church, Catholic Apostolic Church in Zion of South Africa ukuba azokhuluma on behalf of the church. Sicele ukuthi emva kwakhe nje ulandele inkosi uMdube izokhuluma ngaphansi kokukhosi basempembeni lapho ubaba uMphemba ehlala khona. Sizocela ukuba basheshise indlebeni kanjalo. Ngiyangithanda ukuthi basheshise abafundisi ngoba ke kuthiwe njalo sithi abafundisi abasheshise, kodwa nami ngiyaboshwa lapha umthetho nongqongqoshe lokho engibheka ukuthi ngiyasula yini, yenza yini. Sizokwenza konke ngokuthobeka. Sizocela basondelane. Uma inkosi kungeyona uqobo kodwa loyo onikezwe la ukuba azokhuluma on behalf of isizwe, sicela asheshe asondele nje mayiqeda umfundisi bese ngena eduzane.
Ngiyabonga mphathi wohlelo. Ngimi lapha ngokuthunywa ngabaholi bebandla lamaKhristiyana kafushane esibizwa ukuthi CCAC. Ngizizwa ngithobeke kakhulu ngokuthi ngizomalana ngikhuluma egameni lebandla emsebenzini wokuphekezela umphemba. Ngizoqala ke ngokubingelela umndeni wakaNtuli kanye nemindeni yonke esondelene nomndeni wakaNtuli eseyakha ubuhlobo nomndeni wakaNtuli. Ngibingelele abaholi benhlangano kaKhongolose ngabasuka eParliamente elikhulu, ngiyababingelela. Ngabasuka kwi-province abaholwa uKhuzeni, ngiyababingelela. Ngibingelele kanjalo nalabo esihlala kubona umasipala ukuyibona abasilethela idingo zethu eduzane. Umasipala wasemhlathuze nomasipala okombonambi. Ngibonge kakhulu izinto ezingena ziyenzeka indaba yemask lena ikibuye nje ibudide nje kakhulu ongabona abantu sebekushuthile nje sebe isitrenda kanti kwenzeke iphutha. Ngibonge kakhulu ke ngokuba ngibe phakathi kwenu. Ngithanda ukusho siyibandla emndenini wakwaNtuli. Leli bandla esikulona namhlanje liyibandla umhlonishwa uBheki Ntuli ebelikhonze ngendlela emangalisayo. Liyibandla esizalelwe kulo njengoba namhlanje nasesibonakala sesikhule kangaka. Akusilona ibandla eliqhamuke izolo, liyibandla elithi aleve eminyakeni eyikhulu. Leli bandla leli lasungulwa u-Archbishop uJM Ntuli, okwathi uma isifikile kuyena inkazimulo kaNkulunkulu akayigcinanga kuyena kuphela, kodwa wasungula ibandla ukuze abize bonke abangakafikelwa inkazimulo kaNkulunkulu ekwazi ukubachazela ngombuso wasezulwini. Wayindoda eyithobe kakhulu njengoba sibona umhlonishwa uBheki Ntuli indlela athobeke ngayo. Kwakunguyise lo. Wathi mayihamba lasala ibandla uArchbishop uTZ Ntuli, naye othole ngenkulu impumelelo nokuzithoba, naye uhambile emhlabeni. Njengamanje sinomholi wesithathu ohola leli bandla okungu Ntuli, Archbishop Ntuli, naye ozibeke phansi. Bayamazi abaningi usebenza kuyena uhulumeni, uzibeke phansi, uthobeke ngendlela emangalisayo. Liyibandla leli elaba nenhlanhla ngokuba nabaholi balolu hlobo. Manje ke ngilalele mphathi wohlelo ukuthi asibe bafushane ngoba isikhathi siyashaya. Kufanele ngikulandele lokho okushilo. Manje ke siyibandla sithi emndenini wakwaNtuli konke lokhu ebekuthi mase kunzima sebengazi ukuthi bazoya kanjani phambili, bese fika umhlonishwa exazulula leyo nkinga ekhona. Sithi namhlanje abangesabi ngoba bawumndeni okholwayo. Lisho njalo iBhayibheli, uNkulunkulu uzokuba nabo, uzobatholela umuntu emndenini ozofana nomphemba, ongazoba uye umphemba, ozofana nomphemba. Ngoba bangabantu abamkhonzayo uNkulunkulu. uNkulunkulu ufuna abantu abanesibindi. uNkulunkulu abafuni abantu abangamagwala nabantu abesabayo bethi abazi ukuthi sebezokushona phi manje. ngikhumbula makushona uMose uNkulunkulu ubiza uJoshua uthi Joshua usazobathatha abantwana baka-Israyeli ubawenze lo mfula uze uyobafikisa ezweni engalithembisa oyisemkhulu kodwa wase banikezwa incwadi yemthetho le umndeni wakaNtuli oyaziyo incwadi yemthetho abazohamba ngayo bengabheki ukuthi kwenzekani eceleni kodwa beqonde phambili ngqo KZN neParliament lapho siyibandla sithi awehlanga lungehlanga umasipala okhona nawo ebesazi uyakuthola usizo uNtuli sithi uNkulunkulu uzowupha amandla abaholi bezinye inhlangano zepolitiki abakhona nabo ngithi kubona uNtuli ubengakhethi lutho lo muntu ofika kuyena ubekwazi ukuthi amsize uma sefikile ingalawo mazwi ke mphathi wohlelo thina siyibandla singakhala sibuyele nganeno ngoba konke ebekwenziwa uNtuli bese kufunda ukuthi umphemba uma approacha udaba approacha kanjani ukuze engehluleki njengoba kugama ukuthi bewumuntu owesabayo ukuthi ukwehluleka iyona into ebesaba emhlabeni ngalawo mazwi ngithi nina bakwaNtuli uNkulunkulu uzonisiza nizowathola amandla kanjalo futhi nohulumeni wesifundazwe nawo uNkulunkulu uzosivala isikhala sikaNtuli lapho KZN siyabonga
siyabonga baba socela isikhulumo esilandelayo
umuntu akabonge leli thuba leli liphakame nokubingelela abahlonishwa abaqhamuke eParliament ngibingelela ubaba Macingwane ngibingelela ubaba Zikande ubaba uMbalule bonke abahlobo abakhona ngibingelele nonke egameni elihle lenkosi cha thina siwubukhosi bakwaDube empeleni khona silahlekelwe noma ungalahlekelwanga thina sodwa silahlekelwe sonke siyimusa dladla silahlekelwe kakhulu ilomhlobo lo umfowethu lo osethe wahamba silahlekelwe ngalendlela le ephindaphindiwe ngoba le nsizwa le bekuyinsizwa ebithi ibambe ngapha ipolitiki ngapha futhi ngapha ibambe nokholo ngapha inozwelo lensizwa le kakhulu isize ezintweni eziningi engeke sisazibala zonke kulonyaka ophelile yasisiza kakhulu ixhasa abantu abaningi abaqhamuka sebeneyinkinga izwele lensizwa ibonisa ithi ayanyeza memana abantu babizeni ngizofika ifike ngempela isithwele ngapha nangapha isixhasa lapha nalapha ya so imisebenzi yalensizwa ibemkhulu kakhulu even nangoDisemba wona lo ophelile ixhase kakhulu yaba namagalelo amakhulu kakhulu esingeke siwafihle amagalelo ayo noma khona isikhathi sishayile isikhathi kuningi besingakulanda kodwa kuthe nje ngoDisemba kuzoba ukhisimusi sahamba sowuvula umuzi omkhulu umuzi onayo yonke ifurniture onale grocer ephindaphindiwe uthi yabona igalelo lalensizwa le ibikwazi ukuthi miyibona isimo salowa mndeni bisibuka ukuthi ubani engase ngixhumane naye muphi somabhizinisi asengixhumane naye ukulekelela lowo mndeni lo ngakho kakhulu ngalowo mazwi umuntu engaba mfushane ngeke ngilande okuningi kodwa yona insizwa ebinamagalelo amakhulu lensizwa le esiyaziyo kusukela eminyakeni yama-80s mase sengapha enkonzweni esikhonza kuyona kakhulu amagalelo amaningi engeke ngiwalande kodwa mina ngiyawazi kakhulu amagalelo lensizwa ngakho ngithi qhawe lenkosi lala kahle ulale ngoxolo emndeni imani sibindi ukhona uyaphila kodwa uguqile nje kwamanje ngiyabonga amen
siyabonga kakhulu umkhosi wakwaDube noMnyamazane besakhulumile ngomphemba siyacela ukuba ke sidlulele sicele ngenhlonipho ukuba sicele umhlonishwa ubaba uGwala ukuba eze ngaphambili ezomela iqembu eliphikisayo endlini yesithandelo saKwaZulu Natal. Abaningi bayamphika
Mphathi wohlelo noma abaphathi bohlelo umhlonishwa uSithole Mloyi nomhlonishwa uHlomuka umndeni wakwaNtuli nomndeni waseNdlunkulu la iganwe khona umhlonishwa uKhuzeni Premier weProvince umhlonishwa uSihle Zikalala umhlonishwa ungqongqoshe wezokuthutha umhlonishwa uMbalula uformer Premier umhlonishwa uWillis Mchunu ongqongqoshe ama-MECs nama former MECs uSpeaker noma usomlomo wesishayamthetho saKwaZulu Natal umhlonishwa Nontobeko Boys uLieutenant General Jula Provincial Commissioner of Police la Province uMayor yaseMhlathuze umhlonishwa uMhlongo umhlonishwa uMthethwa osiholayo ekomitini lezokuphepha kube umhlonishwa uNtuli onobhala weProvince uKhongolose ihlobo abaculi omaskandi bonke nehonga ikaKhongolose ikhona egameni le-IFP ngizozama ukuthi kuba ama-minute amafishane nje kwenza ukuthi ungashiyi kuthiwa ubambezele opposition. Okokuqala ngisho ukuthi ngizodlulisa amazwi enduduzo emndenini wakwaNtuli, amazwi enduduzo kuKhongolose, amazwi enduduzo kumhlonishwa uKhuzeni njengoPremier weProvince, amazwi enduduzo esigungwini sakho, amazwi enduduzo kusomlomo wesishayamthetho, amazwi enduduzo kuwonke amalunga esishayamthetho. Sikhala kanye nani egameni lokuthunywa umhlonishwa umengameli we-IFP uVF Sabisa kanye nomengameli wokuhlonishwa nomsunguli we-IFP umntwana kwaphinda ngene kube yi-MEC yonke ye-IFP kanye ne-caucus yaKwaZulu Natal. Sengikushilo lokho angisho ukuthi futhi ngimi la ngesivumelwano esasisho sabudlala, ngoba khona ezinye izinto eniyikhuluma nidlala kodwa zithi mase zenzeka
zikumangaza emveni kokuba sesibuyisane ngaganeni ngoba ubungane obuyibo nobungane obuyiqiniso akubona obokuhlangana erenke noma etekisini. Umngane bangempela bakheka emveni kokuba kade nigijimisana, emveni kokuba sesigijimisene Khongolose ne-IFP, abaholi be-ANC phakathi kwabo khona umhlonishwa uNtuli okuyena simphelekezelayo la. Sibese siphoqa umlando ukuthi njalo uma i-IFP inginikeza i-portfolio kufanele ngisebenze kuyona, noNtuli naye anikeza i-portfolio efanayo, saphoqeleka ukuthi masisebenze ndawonye naye. Ilapho la size savuma khona ukuthi uma ufuna ukuletha ukuthula, uma ufuna ukuletha ukubambisana, kufanele uqale ukhiphe inzondo wena kuqala kuwe kuqala, uyibeke kude bese nikwazi ukuxoxa ngendlela yokwakha ukuze nikwazi ukuba niphilise isizwe. Safika ke lapho ke thina kusakunqobola, kodwa namhlanje sekwethusa lapho nesavumelana nawe uNtuli ukuthi uma kufe mina qala uNtuli uyoba isikhulumi, uyokhulumela izitha zami ohlelweni, nanokuthi mawuhambe yena uNtuli ohamba kuqala, mina ngiyokhulumela izitha zakhe ngoba kuma program akuvamise ukuvela lokho. Kuvama ukuvela ukuthi okhulumela abangani, akuveli ukukhulumela izitha. So ngikhulumela ke nezitha ke zakhe ke uMphemba njengoba sasivumelene. uMphemba sambe naye ukhalo lude, sengizohlala phansi isihlalo ophethe umhlangano, ophethe lo msebenzi, okokuthi ziningi izinto njengomuntu omanqoko besebenzisana kakhulu naye sibuye sincokole, kodwa naye akumeleyo okuyimgomo kaKhongolose, nami engumeleyo okuyimigomo ye-IFP. Bengithanda ukuthi umhlonishwa ngithi unengqondo kaMawu, iMawu ke inhlangano le yelokuzana abasebenzi, khona omunye umntwana waseNdlunkulu ke, umntwana waseMthonjeni owayethi uma unekhandela ukhuni athi unengqondo kaMawu. Sekuhambeni ke ngelinye ilanga naye umhlonishwa sisezweni laseChile, sathi masifike eBrazil ngathi mina sesambe kakhulu ngoba sasijike eDubai, mina siyobheka impahla zethu. Wathi yena hayi wena ngani ungasemakhaya eshowo, mina ngiphucuzekile zami impahla ngifake eThekwini ngohlangana naseChile. Ngathi mina ngengqondo kaMawu njalo wena. Mase sifike eChile kwaba uyena yedwa ewusihlalo wethu onempahla engafikile. Ngathi ke mina ngibona ingqondo kaMawu ukuthi ke ihambe kubekephi mphemba. Ngakusasa saba senkingeni ukuthi usihlalo wethu uyena yedwa ngofakile uthayi sokuyokhulunywa lapha. Cha sesivumelana ukuthi ngizometshela uthayi. Ngakusasa ekuseni angishayela ucingo ethi hey ngani wami ngicela ukuzolanda uthayi. Bese ngithi mina hey hayi lokho ayeka ngizokuhlangana nawe emotweni mase sami. Hayi bese ayeka. Hayi ngimkhethela umhle kakhulu uthayi. Ngifike emotweni zokugijinyo ngifike ngimnikeze. Khona intombazana ke osebenzayo ngaphansi kwaSomlomo, intombazana kwaZondi nokulungu. Afika amfake kahle uthayi lo. Bese lo ntombazana ngokuqina nje kwalo ntombazana bese ethi ay uthayi kasihlalo uhlalo isiqiwu sonke. Aduthayi wenkatha lo ngifake wona. manje usenenkinga-ke manje ukuthi usezokhulula kanjani manje sokukhona iy'khulu la wafikana namakhamera umphemba usuku lonke ngoba manje kazi ukuthi uzokwenza kanjani ukuze kungabonakali ukuthi ufake uthayi ongewona awufanele. Okugcina sihlalo umphathi wohlelo ukuthi mina ngikhulele kakhulu ugogo bengikhonze kakhulu kogogo okugogo kaNtuli kanti umakhoni Ntuli ole kwishamthetho kwaba lapha KwaZulu Natal sese Cape Town manje uzalwa impela ekhaya kithi futhi ukhulele kithi ezandleni kamkhulu umzala manje ngokuthi ke umakhoni uthi mzala kimi bese ke kuthi ke bonke ke laba ngigengana ke lo wakhe ke oBibi no Fraser bese bethi ke nami ngumzala besho kimi bese ethi ke umhlonishwa uBheki Ntuli yena ucela yena ngimenzele i-comment kube ne-permit ebhaliwe esho ukuthi naye umzala. Ngithi mina cha phela kusho ukuthi uma ungowaNtuli kufanele vele usho ukuthi mzala kimi. Ezinye zezinto ebesiba nazo ekuthenini sincokole uma sithole ithuba lokuba sincokole. Mphathi wohlelo ngihlala phansi manje ngalamazwi athi uma ufuna ukuthi kube khona ukuthula, uma ufuna ukuthi kube khona ukubambisana, uma ufuna ukwenza lokhu umphemba kade kwenza, kufanele ube nesiqinisekiso sokuthi uthatha yonke into engamabibi edlule uyifake ku-dustbin ukuze ukwazi ukuba sesimeni sokuba uthi uma ukhuluma ngokuthula kube ukuthula kwangempela, ungakhulumi ngokuthula ubuphethe ibhakede lendle ngaseceleni, ngoba uma ukwenza lokho kungayidala inkinga ukuthi kungafinyeleli la ofanele uye khona. Uma ukhuluma udaba luka-1983 fanele ungakhohlwa ukuthi kusho lokhu uphethe i-Leon Commission, ufunde yona kuqala i-Leon Commission ukuthi ithini bese-ke ukhuluma ngakho. Kodwa uma ukuthatha kuzothi ufaka upelepele ongenasidingo ozokwenza ukuthi usethusi. Ngakho ngiyacela ukweluleka nje njengomuntu omdala nangeminyaka nangokuba kupolitiki, ngoba senginesikhathi kupolitiki empeleni. Mina ngineminyaka ewudedi ngikhona kwisishayamthetho, qala ngaba kwisishayamthetho sikahulumeni wakwaZulu ngaphinda ngaba kulesi sishayamthetho esikhona. Ngakho ngikhuluma njengomuntu omdala ukuthi uma sifuna ukuthi sibuyisane phakathi kwa-ANC ne-IFP kufuneka ngempela sikuthathe ngempela okudala sikubuyisele eceleni, sikhulume ngokusha ukuze siqale i-page elisha elizosisa phambili. Mphemba lala ngokuthula mfana kithi, ngithi good night njengabanye asebeshilo ukuthi sobonana ekuseni. Ngiyakwazi ukuthi uma umuntu usumbiza ngombhemi usuku ungasekho mnandi, ngithi-ke mpembi hamba kahle mfowethu, uNkulunkulu akuhlambulule uma kukhona lapho ubone khona. Ngiyazi ukulikholwa, ngiyazi ukukuthanda isonto lakini eziyoni uzufise nami ngathi ngakujoyina, kodwa ngisho nami ukuthi cha nami ngimile la ngikhona. uNkulunkulu sengathi angaba nawe nani nonke malunga ka-ANC, delani inhliziyo. uNkulunkulu unesikhathi sakhe sokuthatha umuntu wakhe. uNkulunkulu abe nani. Ngiyathokoza kakhulu ukuba sinikezwe ithuba lokuba sikhulume kulesi sigaba esibuhlungu kanjena sokuhamba kamfowethu uNtuli. Amen.
Siyathokoza Mphephethu usukhulumile, sodlulela phambili ngenxa yesikhathi. Ngizocela ukuba sibize usomlomo wesishayamthetho umhlonishwa we-NL Boys uNontembeko Mphephethu, igama lakhe uNontembeko. Siyacela
Bheka Program Directors, MECs of Agriculture and Rural Development and Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs in our province, the Honorable Premier KZN, the Minister of Transport in the Republic, Jola, members of the Executive Council of KwaZulu-Natal, leaders of the legislature of KwaZulu-Natal in our midst, led by the Deputy Chief Whip, the leadership of the governing party in KwaZulu-Natal, the African National Congress, the chosen political home of Honorable Ntuli, led by the Deputy Chairperson together with the Secretary. The leadership of Mhlatuzi and the leadership of King Kojwayo, Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Babujula, Makoti Damahle, besinazi ke thina lapha esisaya mthetho ngokuthini ngamazimu abantu abathandinya ikhaya lonke lakwaMphemba nekhaya lakwaZulu nesihlobo esisondeleyo kakhulukazi icawe ebegqiba kusuka apha elidwa Archbishop Eric Ntuli, who is also the ward councillor of Ward 12, if I'm clear, in Umtubatuba. Ndiyanibulisa. Special greetings go to the love of Mpemba's life. Besisithi xa sithetha no Mpemba sithi kumuntu kaMazulu. Wherever you are, Sisi, strength to you. Because of time, we will try to gallop. It is my singular honor that I stand here today to pay a brief tribute to a member of the provincial legislature of KwaZulu-Natal that, since I have known, started working in the legislature before I even became the member in 2014, has been sitting in the senior benches of the governing party. My apologies, Makuza Moizela, Mungani, fellow compatriot who was in the trenches with Mpemba, former Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. Mpemba has always been in the senior benches of the governing party in the legislature of KwaZulu-Natal, leading not only his benches because of seniority, but he had a seniority transcended across all party caucuses in the House, including his enemies, as they were said by the Honorable Chief Whip of the official opposition, Ubabu Mpemba. He was always there, committed to his work to serve all of us as the people of KwaZulu-Natal, and dedicated his time into bringing into life that objective that was conceived many years before we became the members of the legislature, of having KwaZulu-Natal as an activist people-centered legislature. In doing his work, he did not only want to focus on legality and compliance, he was also more focused on impact. How the legislations and the services that were delivered by the government impacting on the people on the ground. He did this by never imposing himself and his experience, but being able to serve, represent, listen, interact, and then smile at the end. It was always difficult to tell the mood of Honorable Mpemba, because he would smile even when he was literally dying inside. The only time in my recollection, Bantwana baka Mpemba, that I recall your father ever showing a different face was one day when we were in Upongolo in a Freedom Day celebration, when Inkosi Yesizwe Sabanjangas was narrating the life in the struggle that has been faced by the Ntuli family and the Ntuli family. That is the only time that in the face of the legislature, he's shown that deeply he still feels the pain of the passing of all his comrades. But he hid it very well by contributing to change lives, especially lives of the young people in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. He led the way in ensuring that when we came to the legislature, we are not intimidated by his stature and also his age, but by ensuring that he is welcoming us and showing us the way. This has been demonstrated by the tributes that we receive even from the opposition benches to show that he was indeed a unifier, a mediator, but above all, he was a leader. You will remember how he would rise when there are conflicts and mediate. What comes to my mind always is how he rose when there were disagreements in the floors of the youth parliament in Ndumeli between the IFP and the ANC, and how he measured, with his measured leadership, worked with the leadership of the IFP in the caucus to ensure that we continue to have a proper sitting of the youth parliament. But as an impact-driven legislator, he was and will always be remembered by the role that he played in ensuring that the AOP of the Community Safety Portfolio Committee was implemented and also in line with all the prescript, because he knew that any governance environment that does not respect its own systems is going to be weakened and rendered ineffective. He consulted. If you want to remember his role during the infighting about the border crime in the Mambuzi area between South Africa and Mozambique. He was the leader of the chairperson, of the committee that was dealing with that and did public participation. But he was also shown his leadership by listening to people that were raising issues of service delivery. I want to mention his intervention between the communities of Kwahlabisa, Vryheid, and recently the Umtwalume with the Hibadin police stations and the Vryheid and Hlabisa police stations. That was Mpemba as a leader. Impela, thina njengesishayamthetho silahlekelwe, kodwa ke iqiniso lithi abantu abalahlekelwe kakhulu yinina mndeni waBantuli. Nilahlekelwe ngubaba, nilahlekelwe ngumkhulu, uMaZulu ulahlekelwe ngumkhwenyana. Abanye balahlekelwe indodana nomfowabo. But the only way to remember and honor him is to continue doing his work. I want to thank the governing party because in some areas of deployment politically I have worked with him. I know the role that his kids have been taught to play in bringing about social justice and transformation. If there is anything that I want to say to you, my children, if there is anything that I want to leave with you is that do not shake the foundations that your father built that family upon. Never shake them. The words that were spoken by Induna in Pumanyova in January 31, 2019 are what I will measure all of you. Go and tell them what you said about you and your siblings and what you will do for bringing justice to all the downtrodden, those that lack access. You promise that you will live to do that beyond the life of your father. I will hold you to that. I want to say to you, Mazulu, be well, my sister. Be well, my sister. Remember your husband. But also know that no man-made wars and those funded by the apartheid could ever take the life of Comrade Bheki. It has to be another force that could take him. And for that, you will rise, you will defeat that force that has taken your husband. You will come back, be with your family, and lead your kids. Stay strong. Hamba kahle kodide, ndlela kaSompisi, South Coast. Umusa wako, and that is known by the families of Kwanongoma, your constituency, by the people of Far North, Zululand, and the entire province. Uzoqhubeka, usenzeka, because the foundations are with your kids. Rest now, my brother. We will see you in the morning.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We'll just go straight to invite Minister of Transport, Minister Maluga, to also
thank you, Program Director, to the bereaved family. Ngempela baba silimele. Kodwa sithi akuhlanga lungahlanga. Rejoice because you are not alone in this pain. The provincial government, led by Comrade Sihle Zigalala, the Premier, and the entire cabinet of the province, we passing our salutations to you for the departure of your colleague and comrade, Comrade Bheki. To the African National Congress leadership and our entire movement and organization, we have lost a servant of the people, a comrade and a revolutionary. To the veteran, former premier of this province, siyabulela ubukho bakho usiqinisa kulomba. To all comrades, officials of government, led here today in the official funeral by the South African Police Service, General Jula, and all other officers of the law present here today. On behalf of myself and the national government, led by the President of the Republic, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, we are here today to pay tribute to a loyal servant of our people. To the media in general, thank you for giving space and platform to populate and inform South Africans about this gallant fighter, not to be forgotten. To the children of Comrade Bheki, in particular, your father was a hero. Draw solace from that knowledge that among many scoundrels a nation can produce, your father became one servant of the people.
In paying tribute to a gallant revolutionary of Comrade Bheki Ntuli's caliber, we cannot avoid reflecting on the values of our society and movement. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves the hard questions. This must elicit honest answers as to our individual roles in eroding the values our democracy is founded on, the values our glorious movement is built on, and the moral fiber of our society. Once we were comrades until we become comrades. The title comrade embodies the depth and resilience of our struggle to realize a truly emancipated society. It embodies the sacrifices made by those who came before us, whose blood nourished the tree that bore the fruits of freedom. It embodies the timeless values that underpinned our liberation struggle for decades. The values of selflessness, service to the people, dedication to the cause of liberating our people from all forms of oppression, including poverty. The title means we must internalize these values, which must find expression in how we treat others. Being comrades means we are each other's keeper. A progressive philosophical and ideological outlook are important tenets of the spirit of comradeship that is rooted in our national values as a people. The conduct of oneself with honor and integrity is the hallmark of a true compatriot who has earned the title of comrade through his or her actions. And such was Comrade Bheki. The ability to harness one's deeds and channel one's energy towards the realization of economic, cultural, and social emancipation of our people is a true measure of a comrade. A strong desire for an unshakable belief in the value of life, humanity, and justice is an invaluable characteristic of a comrade. Being a comrade demands of one to be principled, such that one can denounce wrongdoing without fear or favor. Such was Comrade Bheki. The fundamental lesson we must learn from Comrade Bheki's life is that principle is sacrosanct, and we must not liberally bestow this progressive title of comrade to charlatans and acquaintances who pretend to be comrades. Like Comrade Ntuli, this title is earned in the trenches, in the workplaces, and in the daily struggles of the poorest of the poor by those who put the people first. The title comrade must go with the recognition that he or she who is called a comrade is capable of empathizing, of acting in the best interest of the majority, of sacrificing, of advancing a struggle to liberate the people from all forms of oppression. Such was Comrade Bheki. Corrupt people are not comrades. They treat the poor with disdain. They are preoccupied with advancing their narrow self-serving interests at the expense of the poor. Factionalists are not comrades, for they divide the people using pettiness and narrow interest. Both don't believe in human solidarity, a key characteristic of being a comrade. They are in fact as counter-revolutionary as the incompetent anarchists and the murderers. Just as well, those who divide us racially and ethnically can't legitimately lay claim the honor of being called comrade. So next time you use the title comrade, think again. Ask yourself, am I capable of joining you in a struggle against racial injustice, inequality and patriarchy, or our union will end with slogans and single malls? A fundamental principle is that the power belongs to the people. Leaders are elected to represent the people and to implement their mandate. Such was Comrade Bheki. We must always seek to build democratic structures that can develop people's capacity to tackle their own problems, as well as building their will and understanding to engage further in solving their challenges and making the world more equal and just. A true leader and disciplined comrade confronts and defeats the enemy within fear and the acceptance of the status quo. A people who have no understanding of their power to change the world are easily manipulated and misled. The ANC needs an activist membership, cadres who understand their own power and influence. Our society needs people like Comrade Bheki and the ability of the masses through collective willpower to build an emancipated society. We must build consciousness that ensures the kind of thinking that ignites a forward momentum at all times. As we conclude, Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, once wrote, "Go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them. Start with what they know, build with what they have. But with the best leaders, when the work is done, the task accomplished, the people will say, we have done this ourselves." This is the legacy Comrade Bheki Ntuli has bequeathed us. We must build on it and complete the task of delivering a better life for the people. That is what Comrade Bheki Ntuli stood for throughout his life. He was one with the people and he never wavered in his dedication. I thank you.
Thank you. Sicela ukuthi siphakamise uNdunankulu sihloniphe KZN.
Siyabonga ngenxa yesimo. Program Director, the Ntuli family, fellow comrades who represent government nationally, provincially and locally, all MECs, ANC leadership, the leadership of the official opposition, ihonga ihonga izitheka Mpemba, the alliance and all. We have I think we have less than 20 minutes to leave, and therefore allow me to just summarize so that we who also make law will always adhere to it. The fateful evening of January the 16th compels us to believe the unbelievable, to say what is difficult to say as we bid farewell to this great giant of our revolution, MEC Ntuli. We still find it difficult to accept that he is no more. It is difficult to say that an ever-jovial, energetic, and passionate servant of the people is no more. To say Mpemba is no more, akushokeki. And one wishes it was but a dream that would be woken up from. How to believe that a person who is always everywhere, crisscrossing the province, serving the people who are traumatized by accidents is no more. How to believe that someone who is always there to deal with crime and violence is no more? How to believe that someone whose presence and warmth was felt even in solemn moments is no more? How to say goodbye to someone who was able to comfort, bring smile, and trigger laugh during the sad moment of grief is no more. Though it is not easy and it is unbelievable, we say farewell to Comrade Mpemba, Honorable Ntuli. We say fare thy well, Bheki Ntuli. Describing today's new normal, where friends and comrades cannot join in singing, where communities cannot risk sharing tears in flesh, KwaZulu-Natal born poet Sandile Ngidi recently captured this unimaginable pain and trauma of our epoch, where he wrote, and I quote, "The stubborn heaviness in our shoulders, the bloodshot eyes, now we know our lives are being irrevocably torn apart. Those who are ill, dying, and dead are family members and their names. Family, friends, beloved ones. Death is no longer a metaphor. The nightmare, and the nightmare," close quote. The reality of this nightmare has struck closer home. It has robbed our nation of a modern day savior who was a gift from the ancestors. And so, with heavy heart, we are gathered here to say farewell to MEC Ntuli. To Ntuli family and the Zulu family, the pain you're going through is unbearable. We dip our banners and salute MEC Ntuli for his contribution. We wish you to heal. Just over a year, these fallen patriots and the Ntuli family were burying a bone of their bones, a flesh of their flesh, their son, uNkululeko. Bompemba, uNkulunkulu aniqinise. Amenani, siyazi ukuthi kunzima kini. To our glorious movement, the African National Congress, and to our government, this is a double blow. It is made severe by the fact that on the very same day Comrade Mpemba passed on, we had buried Mama Uthandi Cecilia Memela. But it is also known that recently we lost to Comrades Ricardo Mthembu and we lost to Comrade Mluleki Ndoli. In Pemba, the province has lost a dedicated, devoted, and a humble servant of the despised and the downtrodden. We have lost a peace ambassador and a champion of the poor and the working class who puts the people first in the implementation of service delivery. Like Chief Albert Luthuli, he knew that the road ahead to freedom vias the cross. He accepted that he could not call himself a freedom fighter if he himself was not prepared to die for that freedom. In his life, he became an epitome and a personification of forgiveness. Each day, his big, magnanimous heart was strengthened and he remained focused on passion to escape a seed of hatred and a conflict in our province. Mpemba lived forgiveness, and this made him to live freely and free of any burden of hatred. If Mpemba kunento ehlukile kubantu bonke, uxolela. Xolele wonke umuntu, axolele ngaphakathi kombutho, axolele labo even abamone ngaphandle. But Mpemba was a revolutionary. He surrendered his being into the revolution. He then became the epitome of what Fidel Castro defined when he said, a revolution is not a bed of roses. A revolution is a struggle between the future and the past. Close quote. Mpemba knew the past, but he said, let us build on that for the future. He also embraced the words of Che Guevara, where he said, "The true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolution lacking this quality." Mpemba had love for all his comrades. He loved those who are with him. He loved even abantu ahlangana nabo. Mpemba surrendered himself to the liberation struggle. Through his passion and dedication, he carried all tasks assigned to him with great passion and dedication. As part of workers' struggle, he became one of the outstanding and committed shop steward of the Metal and Allied Workers Union. As part of the ANC, Comrade Mpemba was always assigned to the most difficult task and the most challenging task which he always executed diligently and without complaining. When the ANC was unbanned and it deployed Comrade Willis Mkhunu to lead the establishment of the ANC structures and eventually launched the Northern Natal region, Comrade Mpemba played a critical role in the establishment of self-defense unit, in the establishment of structures of the ANC from Mandeni till Uyovala and Gwavuma. Also, he played a role from here, Eskawini till Kwanongoma till Newcastle, and that was Mpemba, building the organization for more than 3 decades. His participation in the struggle earned him enemies who were hell-bent and trying to kill him. He survived several assassination attempts on his life and lost 4 family members, including his mother. But he knew that after that there must be life, there must be reconciliation. It is Mpemba himself who said, "Let there be reconciliation." Speaking at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, Mpemba had this to say: "What really happens affects me is that I was not just the only one who was affected. This affected people whom I love very much, members of the ANC, SACP, COSATU, and my mother, because of me and my family. I'm from a very big family, and my brothers left their houses because of me, because Ntuli name had the bad legacy because of me. The last person who died was a Ntuli person. They killed him, even though he was an Inkatha member, but they killed him because of me. But after that, Comrade Mpemba knew that there must be reconciliation. In very same presentation, he went further to say, as I quote, "What I will ask you to do is something which is not for me personally. It is something for everyone who was affected because of political violence. Some people from the IFP were tortured because even the ANC members also protected themselves by attacking the IFP members. So everyone was affected," close quote. This is what Mpemba said, presenting to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, surrendering and making a point that it is not about himself, but it is about the people who needed to be reconciled and live together. Undeterred by the painful events visited upon his family, Mpemba continued his noble fight for the liberation of the country from oppression and repression. Since 1996, Comrade Mpemba worked for peace in KwaZulu-Natal. He was part of ANC structures in 1996 that were part of the peace and stability. Now, in one, I'm sure Comrade Ndiemo and Comrade Matsingwane, you will remember, in one of the early 2000s, PGC, Comrade Undebele, the former premier, said, awu, kuyaqala ke lokhu. Kube ne-commission ye-peace and stability. Umphemba angayi kuyo, kuyaqala ngqa. That was the role kaMphemba in peace and stability. And since then he was assigned to lead the peace and stability. It was in the same PEC where the very same former premier said, awu, Umphemba usaphatha i-computer kuyaqala. And moving, Comrade Umphemba played a critical role, but Comrade Umphemba was an organizer. He could penetrate areas where there were no structures of the ANC, establish structures of the ANC, and ensure that the structures of the ANC are functional. Even in areas where it's difficult, but in doing so, he begged also yet to bear the brutality that will be directed to those comrades. And Umphemba will always say, hey, ngithangiye kokwakha laba abantu babe kwi-structure, manje sebeyashawa, sengisele ngedwa kulolu daba. Babe mbalwa ababa naye, but yena angabashiyi labo bantu bebodwa, abe nabo even nangaleso sikhathi. For Umphemba, the struggle was not positions, but the service to the movement and the people. He never fought for position. Despite being the regional chairperson, he accepted not being sent to the legislature or to parliament, but he remained in the movement in 1994. Comrade Umphemba, umakiwe legislature ngo-94, wakuvuma ukuthi ayahamba ama-comrades, but wangathi mina ngusihlalo, angibo wokuqala ukuye legislature noma ukuye parliament. But even after he was assigned to be in parliament, he didn't want positions. He started serving in portfolio committees, and he served as the chair of the portfolio committee until he became the MEC. As the chairperson of the portfolio committee, he crisscrossed the length and breadth of the province, assisting in building peace and stability. Unbeknown that he will end up being the MEC, Umphemba was always emphatic on principle of Batupile. Having been assigned as the MEC to work as a champion in Zululand, he led the functionality and ensured that Operation Sukumasake becomes instrumental in driving development in Zululand. He has been working as the MEC instrumental in building physical bridges that link families and villages that were once political enemies. One of the projects they've started is that of partnering with the SANDF to build bridges, especially for poor children in rural areas. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has lost a seasoned cadre who exceptionally led in peace and stability subcommittee for more than 20 years. As the MEC, he was a crime fighter par excellence, involved in dealing and reducing the levels of crime, political killings, and taxi violence that threatened to derail investment or investor confidence in KwaZulu-Natal. He crisscrossed the country, including going to hostels in Gauteng, fighting to ensure that he built unity. He worked with all political parties in the multi-party political intervention committee in the legislature. We can say it with no hesitation and with no fear of contradiction that Umphemba was always seized with the question of unity, stability, and development of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. He had a special relationship he developed with stakeholders. He developed a good relationship with traditional leaders. He developed a good relationship with the religious leaders. All stakeholders can attest that he worked with them in a manner that showed respect and trust. He was always consulting When he became the MEC, he didn't say the former MEC, who is now the mayor of eThekwini, is younger than him. But he went to him and asked him to orientate him about the work of the department. When he became the MEC, he also ensured that he continues with consulting, including going to former MECs who were there before, and he didn't say that his role was to eradicate the legacy of his predecessors. We will want to surrender. Although Mpemba was older than many of us in government and in the ANC, he was always humble, attentive, and welcoming. He could never use his seniority or struggle credentials for self-achievement or self-benefit. In him, we have lost a principal comrade, a caring brother that we could trust, a brother that we could confide in and seek advices. Our people have lost an avowed opponent of patriarchy and gender-based violence. I fully agree with the Women's League in its statement that Comrade Mpemba was always available and leading in front in the fight against gender-based violence. He was working around the clock to reduce crime and gender-based violence in hotspots such as Inanda, Kwamashu, and Pesislea. He was working in ensuring that he deal with the carnage in our roads. He was at the forefront in the battle against COVID-19. He personally conducted roadblocks to ensure that the road users and commuters adhere to COVID-19 protocols. We will not forget his instrumental role in forging unity and reconciliation among student formations, especially in the University of Zululand. We implore our young people, the student leaders from various institutions, to live to Mpemba's memory by ensuring that all their problems are resolved amicably. His revolutionary love and legacy will always be enacted in our memories, and he will always be with us. Mpemba was a peacemaker at all times. We can only remember him and pay respect to him by ensuring that his legacy is maintained. We can only honor his memory by getting and to ensure that we learn to forgive and reconciliation. We can only honor him by ensuring that we eradicate poverty among our people. Knowing his conviction and his passion for serving our people, if Mpemba was to speak to us here today, he would apologize. He would say, comrades, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I left you at this particular moment. And I'm sorry that I left you with such mountainous task on your shoulders. But you must soldier on. At the break of dawn, we will pick up the spear of you, Comrade Mpemba. Ndlela kaSompisi, you have fought your fight and ran your race. We salute you, and you will always live to inspire us to do good for our people. We're going to forge ahead with the task of liberating our people from the shackles and indignity of poverty and want. We will defy death and bind the wounds of our nation. To heal all, you would have wished us to defy the nightmare of death and water the seed of peace, forgiveness, and love which you planted. Hamba kahle Mkhonto, hamba kahle Mpemba, bele elihle, wena owaphemba ngebele, abanye bephemba ngezibi. Farewell, Comrade Bheki Ntuli. I thank you, Procurator.
Mashallah, Thank you very much.